G'day folks, it's Indiana Joe here, back from a short trip away, and we've got a sort of unboxing, unwrapping, sorting out kind of video for you today. We've just come back from Norfolk, picking up a few different bits, including, you can have a look inside the car there, one rather ropey looking dinosaur that needs a little bit of work doing to it. It's a concrete model that I picked up years ago and it's been sort of sitting in my parents' front garden for a while. So over the next few days we're going to do this all up and watch for a video about that. However, we've also got some fossils. One that I collected getting on for 8 to 10 years ago now. This huge, great big round sponge-like looking thing is known as a Panandura. It's from the Norfolk coast and it's got chalk in the middle, this big round. It is actually a fossil. You see the little sort of spot in the middle there? The interpretation is that these are giant worm barrows. There's a few other suggestions as well. Some of the people think that they are giant fossil sponges, such as myself. There's a few other interpretations as well, but a great piece that we picked up years ago and is good to get back into the museum. Also around here, if I can unlock the car, we've also got another set of fossils that I picked up recently from the Fossil and Gem Show in Oxford, which happens 3 or 4 times a year, and we picked up some nice things. So that's really what we're going to go through today and have a little bit of a look at. So let's collect all these together. Let's go inside the museum building and have a little look at what we've picked up and collected, because there is actually some rather spectacular stuff. So let's get it across to the table over here. Starting with something that isn't actually a fossil, which is this set of crystals here. Now I just want you to have a little look at these. We've got things like oconite and apophyllite and stipulite, and let's get them over into the lighting over here. So you can see we start off with some really nice looking, decent sized big crystals. You see the pointers there, beautiful stuff. God is a master designer, because of course the one thing that we know about the crystals is that what crystals always do is produce these beautiful geometric shapes like this. But have a look at this one here. Oh, you can see the big crystals, but can you see the little fine crystals there? Teeny tiny little things, extremely fragile, extremely delicate, but very, very beautiful for sure. Almost like cotton wool, so that's a really nice addition to the collection. But getting on into some of the fossil-y bits, which is of course what we're sort of known for at Creation Research, we have a nice Ammonite that I picked up, which was actually described in 1828. It's from Germany. This is the Cretaceous rock. You can see it's a sort of a chalky type rock which it's buried in. But have a look at the Ammonite. Can you see how it's not quite ordinary? It's kind of got a bit of, you see the gaps, right? It's starting to almost uncurl. Well, this is shell, like a snail shell. So it doesn't unfold and curl back up while the creature was alive. This is a solid shell for sure, but it's a bit of a deformed shell. You see, things like this are often interpreted as different species. It's a slightly unusual Ammonite. It's because it's got these gaps and it's kind of uncurling, so it must be a different species. But what you'll often find is that these are all found in groups together and are very localized. So the really big uncurled ammonites with the big sort of J shapes are only found in 4 or 5 locations in the world. A better explanation from my point of view is that this is a mutated group. And you'll find with animals is that when you get deformities and when you get unusual features which are present in a population, generally speaking, they'll only breed with each other because none of the other creatures, the normal creatures, will breed with them. And so you end up with a localized community of mutated creatures, a little bit like this. So really interesting Ammonite. I'd not seen one quite like this before. I'd seen them where they kind of come down into a big J shape. I'd seen them where they're a bit more uncurled, but not actually one like this. So that was a really nice find to add to the collection. We actually have over 200 different Ammonite species in our collection, and we're growing all the time to make a really good database, really good catalogue of things as well. We've got this. This is a little Stromatolite from France. which I'd not actually got one from this collection before. It's actually one of the near modern ones, so that's a really nice example as well. You can see all of the layers there, really pretty beautiful. Stromatolite, of course, stromatolites are basically living rocks. They are an algae-like creature which deposits, secretes rock as it grows and builds up those layers. They're still alive today, and this one is only supposed to be a couple of million years old. It's almost pretty much fresh, but the oldest ones of these go back supposedly up to nearly 3 billion years old. Some of the oldest ones are supposed to be, and really they haven't changed one little bit. All they've done is reproduce after their own kind, just like it says that the creatures should do in the book of Genesis. Big old chunk of bone here, one of the bigger pieces of the, well, it's most likely crocodilian or like a Spinosaurus type dinosaur. It's a big old piece of limb bone from the Kem in Morocco. Really nice, beautiful piece. You can see the skin there is really quite pretty, some of the original matrix as well. But just have a look inside as well. You've actually got some really nice bone marrow inside there, so this is a good contender for doing testing on, looking for collagen and soft tissue and stuff like that. So that's a great discovery as well. Now, this actually came from a private collection. I was talking to the guy who had this. This is from the Forest of Dean, which is a more unusual place to get these kind of fossils from. And this was in a private collection of a geologist who'd collected over many, many years. And it's a rather beautiful, it's a little squashed, but yet you can just about see those segments down there. This is a horsetail rush. This is from the Carboniferous, of course, the Pennsylvanian or Mississippian, technically Pennsylvanian if you're in the States. And this is from the Carboniferous deposits in the Forest of Dean, and it is, again, a living fossil. These things are alive today. They're much smaller than this today, and, of course, they got a lot bigger than this in the fossil record, these horsetail rushes. Today, they're spindly little weeds. In the past, they were thick-stemmed. They were huge trees. They were pretty enormous. So a rather beautiful example of a living fossil, and a really, really nicely preserved one as well. So that'll go on to the living fossil displays. Also to be added to our living fossil displays is this fish right here, which we actually spoke about in Creation Conversations about a week ago or so. It's been renamed to Cocorellites. It was named something else before then, but the reality is it is a living fossil. Now, this is one of the best examples that I've ever found, and we can be really grateful to God for what we've been able to get. Look at some of the detail and preservation in there. Absolutely beautiful for sure. And basically, this is a sunfish. No, not the great big huge ocean things, right? These are the freshwater sunfish. You can actually look at them side by side. Here's a graphic which our good friend Vance Nelson actually put together, and you can see the modern day sunfish there. You can see the fossil sunfish, and they look pretty much identical. So this is a really beautiful example, one of the best examples I've ever seen of these fossils from the Green River Formation in Wyoming, and we're talking about something that's supposed to be 56 odd million years old, and yet it just hasn't changed in the slightest. And so you'll find that living fossils are a really good piece of evidence that the Bible is true. Because if if creation was true, what kind of evidence would you expect to find in the fossil record? Well, the fossil record is a history of life on Earth. And if evolution was true, you'd expect to find gradual succession of one creature evolving into the next, but we simply don't see that. What we see, in fact, is exactly what you'd expect to see if creation was true. If creation was true, what evidence would we expect to find? We'd find evidence of creatures appearing abruptly in the fossil record, having no evidence of evolution up to that point, and then remaining unchanged to the present day. And in fact, the three things that you do find in the fossil record is, number one, creatures, if they do change, it's not an evolution, it's a devolution. This is a living fossil. But they used to be big, now they're small. They have changed, but it's not evolution. They've gone downhill, it's devolution. Or you find that creatures go extinct just like the dinosaurs. Or you find creatures remain exactly the same, they reproduce after their own kind, and that is simply it. You see, if you change but you're devolving, you're going the wrong way. You're not evolving at all. If you go extinct, you couldn't evolve even if you wanted to, and if you've remained exactly the same for 56 million years in the case of the fish, over 3 billion years in the case of some of the stromatolites, then it's quite simple. You're not evolving, you're stuck in a rut, you're doing exactly what God told you to do 10 times in Genesis chapter 1, which is reproduce after their own kind. Fascinating stuff, eh? But I'll catch you later, as I've got to go and sort all these out now and put them all away. So yeah, we'll catch you later, and keep an eye out for updates on the dinosaur recreation. Catch you later, folks.